Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Okay, let us continue a little bit on the topics that we have learned previously. Okay, previously we have learned about mean, median, and mode. Okay, for today we are going to look into another descriptive measures, okay, including range, standard deviation, and variance, coefficient of variation, and also comparison, coefficient of skewness. Okay, so kita tengok kat sini memang senang. Okay, please bear with me. Okay, we start off with the range. Okay, range ni pun paling senang lah student. Okay, kita just ambil the largest value, tolak smallest value, then we get the range. Okay, that's it. Sangat-sangat senang. Adalah perkara-perkara lain yang memeningkan. Alright. So, for example, kita dari range ascending order, 7 is the lowest, 25 is the largest. So largest minus smallest, we have 18. So the answer, if the question asks about the range, is 18. Okay, 18. And then there is a term, standard deviation and variance. Okay, serasa maybe ada yang pernah dengar, maybe ada yang dengar tapi tak faham sebelum ni. Okay, so the purpose of having standard deviation and variance is to measure variability. Okay, so these two can be used to determine the spread of the data. Okay, taburan data kita lah. So if the variance or standard deviation is large, kalau nilai variance and standard deviation adalah besar, the data are more dispersed. Data dia lebih berserakan lah kalau bahasa Melayunya. This information is useful in comparing two or more data set to determine which is more or most variable. So kalau kecil nilai variance and standard deviation, so maksudnya dia ada less spread lah. Macam tu sahaja. So macam mana kita nak kira ni? Kalau kita tengok dekat sini, formula untuk standard deviation dia ada dua. Satu untuk population, satu untuk sample. So dia based on question sahaja. Kalau question tu memang mention data is a sample taken, blah blah blah, then kita akan gunakan standard deviation lah. So the only different here is the symbol capital N under square root here. Okay, for population we use 1 over capital N. And for the standard deviation is just n minus 1. Okay, jawapannya akan ada sedikit perbezaan. Okay, that's why kita kena tengok betul-betul soalan tu. Data tersebut adalah berkaitan sampel. Pengiraan tersebut adakah pada sampel ataupun pada population. Same goes to the variance. Okay, kalau kita tengok kat sini, simbolnya adalah simbol sigma to the power of 2. Sebenarnya standard deviation and variance ni dia adalah siblings lah. Okay. Kalau if we only have standard deviation, then we have the square root inside the formula. But if we have variance, okay, it's actually the square of the standard deviation. So bila kita square kita punya standard deviation, that's why the square root here disappear. Okay, sebab kita dah squarekan both side. So kita akan tengok penggunaan formula ni dalam example selepas ni, dan paling banyak kita akan gunakan semasa dalam chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5 ada tak? Tengok. Tapi memang commonly used lah. Tetapi jika nilai ni diberikan dalam soalan, you don't have to calculate. But sometimes the question asks us to prove the value, then you have to come back to the formula. Formula ni pun tak perlu hafal, okay? Memang diberikan lah. So if we take a look at the example here, okay, there are represent the total asset of the rich individual in million to calculate the standard deviation and variance of the 5 people. So dia nak cari variance and standard deviation based on the given data. So jadikan amalan put in the table form macam ni, so that easy for you to calculate. So later on dalam kelas kita akan try function statistik dalam calculator which is lagi cepat, but you have to know the basics lah. Here, in order to utilize the standard deviation formula, you need to total up all the x value, okay? And for each x value, for each reading, for each data given, you need to find the square of each data, okay? So the summation of x is symbol ni lah, kita dah belajar sebelum ni. Alright, and then once you have obtained the square of each value, so you need to total up all the square that you have get in order to get summation of x squared. So 2854 ni kita akan gantikan di dalam formula ini dekat summation of x squared. Okay, and then summation of x adalah inside the bracket here. The rest is just you press the calculator lah. So kalau you dapat try out example calculation here before we move on. So dalam ni dia minta cari standard deviation and variance. So once you dapat standard deviation, it is 14.35 million. So nak dapat variance just kuasa 2 lah. Okay. Then you dapat 206.176 million. Okay, next is coefficient of variation. So this one kita nak tengok. Just now we want to see about the spread of data. But here in coefficient of variation, kita nak tengok which group is more consistent. Okay, a smaller CV percentage indicate less dispersed group. Maksudnya kat sini, kalau nilai coefficient of variation yang kita dapat tu dalam bentuk percentage, coefficient of variation kena darab dengan 100. Kalau nilainya kecil, maksudnya data tersebut less dispersed, less spread. Kalau bigger CV percentage, bigger coefficient of variation percentage, maksudnya data tu more dispersed. Okay. Ataupun istilah dia satu lagi digunakan more consistent. Kita tengok example sekejap lagi. So here formulanya senang saja. Sample of standard deviation divided by mean of sample, ataupun standard deviation of the population divided by mean of the population times 100. Okay, kalau dalam example ni kita tengok ni senang. Dia dah tolong calculate mean, median, mode. Kita just gunakan sahaja formula CV tadi. The question asks, using the most suitable measurement, which class has the most consistent? Bila sebut consistent, kat sini kita sebenarnya nak cari coefficient of variation. So, formula yang terlibat kalau kita recall balik adalah standard deviation and mean. So, kalau standard deviation and mean telah diberikan untuk 5A, standard deviation-nya ada tak standard deviation? Tak ada. Diberikan adalah variance. So kalau variance nak pergi ke standard deviation, we just square root the value. That's why lah kita dapat kat sini square root of 0.2755. Kalau diberikan standard deviation, terus gunalah. So bila kita dah bahagi, darabkan dengan 100. Similar to 5B and 5C. Okay, of all coefficient of variation that we have calculated, okay, 5C has been choose as the most consistent CGPA sebab nilai CV-nya lebih kecil dan dia adalah less dispersed. Dia samalah macam konsep coefficient of variation tadi ni. Okay, cuma digunakan terminologi consistent. Takut kita confuse ataupun terlupa. More consistent meaning that less dispersed. Okay. So kalau kat sini pula, just now adalah pengiraan In our next example here, dia dah ambil sampel. Okay, now no, uh, it only has 8 student. So 8 student tu adalah calculate the CV for 8 student, memandangkan data set kita ada 8 student. So that 8 student is considered as population. However, if the question asks us to find the coefficient variation only for student number 1, 2, 3 and 4, it means that kita telah menggunakan kaedah sampel, iaitu sebahagian sahaja. So that's why lah kita gunakan formula standard deviation of sample here. Kalau kita tengok dekat calculate the CV for the 8 student ni, kita gunakan formula variance of the population, standard deviation of the population. Okay. Now measure of skewness. Okay. Previously kita dah tengok berkenaan dengan identify skewness menggunakan stem and leaf plot, histogram dan juga box and whisker plot. Okay, itu dari segi representation. Dari segi magnitude ataupun nilainya, kita juga ada formula. We do have formula for skewness. So, shape of distribution kita akan sebut sebagai normal, positively skewed or negatively skewed. Formulanya pun senang sahaja, student. Memang tak ada formula yang complicated lah. Okay. Skewness can be calculated from mean minus mode divided by standard deviation, or if we don't have mode, then we use 3 times the difference of mean and median divided by standard deviation. Okay. If our results is positive, meaning that we can interpret it skewed to the right ataupun positively skewed. If the results from the previous calculation is negative, then we call it as negatively skewed. If there is a 0 or near 0, then we call it as symmetrical or normal. Okay, if we take a look at this example, continue from example 2.11. Okay, the result for A, for 5A is 1.9. Okay, besar ya. Dan positif, maksudnya dia skewed to the right. The result for 5B is 1.677, also skewed to the right. However, for C, nilainya adalah 0.3, which is less than 0.5. So, kita tak declare dia sebagai positif, kita declare dia sebagai symmetrical ataupun no skewness. Itu cara-cara kita kalau kita nak interpret skewness. So, kita dah cover sekejap tengok balik standard range tadi kita dah cover, and then kita ada standard deviation, kita ada coefficient of variation, kita ada skewness, and last but not least is the position. Okay. So untuk position ni, remember that in our previous example on the box and whisker plot, kan kita ada lower quartile, okay, upper quartile, median, kan. So this is how we can calculate in details lah. If the question asks about the first quartile, then it is actually 1/4, or 1/4 ni we call it as quarter lah, okay, suku. So 1/4 n plus 1. So kat sini adalah formula untuk mencari position. Okay, nak cari position. Okay, second quartile pula adalah half ataupun disebut sebagai median lah. Okay, which is half of that position. Dia lebih kurang formula untuk kita cari median. N plus 1. So hasil ni bukan jawapan lagi, baru position. Dan kita akan tengok the respective value for that position lah. The third quartile adalah 3/4. Senang nak ingat. Okay, nak faham dia. Nama pun third quartile. Third quartile is 3/4 lah. So 3/4 is 3/4. So you times with the position formula. Interquartile range senang. Q3 minus Q1. That's it. Ada example tak? Okay. Ni ada saya ambil example untuk daripada salah satu soalan tutorial. Okay. Let's say kita ada nilai 33 all the way, so dah turun susun sampai nilai 78. Okay, to find, kalau macam saya suka cari yang second quartile ataupun kita sebut median tadilah. So formula dia 1/2. We know that half. Since our data here is 24 data, 24 numbers, okay, 24 figures. So 24, which is n, 24 plus 1 divided by 2 is 12.5. Okay, so bila 12.5 position, meaning that position yang ke-12 adalah, okay, position yang ke-12 adalah 62. Okay, kebetulan 1, 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Position yang ke-12 adalah 62. Okay, but we need another half. Remember, our position is 12.5. So, kita nak dapatkan lagi setengah. So, lagi setengah tu daripada mana? Daripada position ke-12 ke position ke-13. 12th position to the 30th position. So, kita ambil different dia and then divide by 2 lah sebab 0.5. Okay. So, kita tambahkan. Kebetulan memang nilainya sama. So, that's why kita dapat 62 juga. So, tak nampak beza sangat lah. Okay. Untuk first quartile, remember it is actually a quarter. So 1/4, 24 plus 1 divided by 4. Okay, this one adalah formula ni, tersambung je. The position is actually 6.25. So position ke-6 berapa nilainya? 3 adalah 52. Okay, but we need another 0.25 after 52. So, macam mana nak buat adalah kita ambil 55 minus 52, which is position ke-7 tolak position ke-6, dapat nilainya dan kita darab dengan 1/4 ataupun kita bahagi dengan 4. So, that's why calculation ni adalah 0.75. Tambahkanlah dengan nilai ke-6. Nak bagi faham lagi, tengok third quartile. Okay. Formulanya adalah 3 quarter. So 24 plus 1 times 3/4, we get 18.75 position. So position ke-18, we know that it is 68. But we need another 0.75. After position 18, kita ambil nilai position 19, which is 71, minus 68 times 3/4. So that value is actually 2.25. So 2.25 plus 68 dapatlah 70.25. Itulah pengiraannya. So, I think kat sini ada yang lebih cantik. Ada juga example dekat sini. Okay, dah disusun. Okay, from smallest to the, this one ada 20 data sahaja. So, similar calculation lah perform here. If the question asks to find the first quartile, second quartile, third quartile, kita lebih mudah cari yang separuh tu dulu. Senang kita nampak. Okay. Point here meaning that we need another half of the value after that 10 position. We need another 0.25, okay, value after that position. Macam itulah pengiraannya. Thank you. So, kalau ada apa-apa soalan, boleh ajukan.